Designing original characters is hands down one of my favorite things to do as an artist. Even in my free time when I'm just sketching in my sketchbook, it's a time when I can just let my imagination run wild and create anything I can imagine, and that can lead to some pretty interesting and really out there designs. But when it comes to animation, sometimes my more elaborate designs need to be toned down and refined to a degree if I want to be able to animate my characters consistently and easily for the sake of my time and energy, which is something you use a lot of when you're animating. That's why it's important to know how to design characters specifically for animation, and I'm going to show you guys the process I go through for designing my own original characters. For this video, you guys will be seeing my design process for the default casual outfit, for lack of a better term, for the main character of my animated series, Rift. So let's jump straight into it. When it comes to designing characters for animation, there are a few things, in my personal opinion, that you need to ask yourself before going straight into draw mode. And that's, what is your intent behind designing this character? What is the character's personality or attitude? What is the style of the animation project you're designing the character for? What is the setting and tone of the world your character lives in? And finally, this last one plays into one of the principles of animation, and that is, how can you make this character appealing for the viewer? To explain a little further by what I mean when I say what are your intentions for your character, say you're working on a sci-fi thriller story and you need an imposing and terrifying antagonist. Or let's say you need a young and energetic and friendly protagonist for your coming of age story. The way you go about designing these two very different characters actually starts the same way. You need to know their role in your story or universe and what you intend to do with their story. And that will help you start to write down and map out the characteristics of your character, which will help when it comes to the next question of knowing your character's personality and attitude. And I saw in a video explaining the creation process of the movie Nightmare of the Wolf that's set in the Witcher universe that's on Netflix, that for one of the characters named Petra, the director wanted her design to show her elegance, sophistication, and beauty, which helped really define her design for the final product. Now for the main character of my series, Rift, the main character's real name is Adam, and he lives in a futuristic world in a city dedicated to the advancements of science and technology, with cyberpunk influences merged in as well. For Adam's regular street clothes, I wanted to design him in a way that didn't really make him stand out from the crowd, because leading a double life as a superhero, wanting to protect your identity, having a bold and brash design will bring unwanted attention to yourself, which is something most superheroes don't want, with a few exceptions. Now, even though I wanted to design Adam in a way that would make him another unassuming citizen, I still wanted to give him a bigger and bolder silhouette to show that he is still an imposing figure even without his superhero uniform on. Another tip when it comes to designing characters is defining the character's silhouette well enough so even if you completely black out the character, you can still tell who it is based on the strong silhouette they've been given. You can see this a lot when it comes to the designs for a lot of shonen protagonists, and I also wanted to keep his clothes more loose and free to give him better flexibility and maneuverability in case he needs to jump into action at any point in time. But I didn't want him to be so bland that his design becomes uninteresting. So I came up with little accessories that add a little bit of variety to his look, and also help to give his character more overlapping action when he moves, making his animation more exciting to watch. Now to move to the next question on the list, when you know your character's personality and you know how they interact with others and carry themselves in their day-to-day life, it can help you to narrow your focus to some common design archetypes, which will give you a foundation to start from, and you will be able to build from there, giving your character their own unique look, like the loud, obnoxious, fiery teen, or the silent, mysterious loner, or even the sweet and gentle child who's actually a deadly powerhouse. Each of these archetypes have distinctive personalities that a lot of people can identify with and associate with, and oftentimes characters with these archetypes have similar designs across many stories, like the fiery teen with spiky hair and sharp eyes, or the loner with dark hair and cat-like eyes, or the cute simple child with big eyes and colorful clothes. So my advice is to just be mindful of the decisions you are making and know why you are making them, and this will help you later down the line when you're refining your abstract ideas into a concise character design. Next up is the style you are trying to achieve. And when I say style, I don't necessarily mean the character's own personal style, but instead the animation style. Whether your animated project is a 2D frame-by-frame animation or 3D rendered animation, the various styles you can achieve are essentially endless, from very cartoonish to more anime style to semi-realism. What style the animation will be in will influence how your character should be designed. If you're going for a more limited animation series for young kids to watch and enjoy, then a more simplified style and design will probably be best for your characters. For example, look at the Amazing World of Gumball. Those characters are designed in a way so that they can easily animate episodes to a consistent quality and at a consistent rate, so that they meet their deadlines without burdening themselves with extra steps to finish a single episode. But if you're going for a more mature audience and want that anime-inspired look, but still on the edge of semi-realism, you can look at a show like Castlevania, which will be more of the direction you will want to go in. Knowing your audience and knowing how much work you're willing to put into your animation will help to know how detailed you can, or rather should go, when designing your characters. Now, when it comes to creating characters, more often than not, there is a story behind them. And each story has its own setting and tone that align with it. Whether it's a high fantasy adventure story, or a grim dark crime drama, or dystopian future, your character will need to fit and coexist within the environment that they live in. And in order to properly design a character for this alternate world, you'll have to take the time and do a little bit of research. Now, when I say research, I don't necessarily mean taking a deep dive into the history of the world and discovering why certain people wear this or that and what that means culturally in the world, because not all stories require that level of depth. But don't misunderstand me, there are some stories that do, especially for an entirely new world you are striving to create, like Game of Thrones or even Avatar: The Last Airbender. The creators of Avatar had to figure out the different styles for the different nations and know why it would make sense for certain people to wear certain things based on their culture, personality, and status in society. The designs even help distinguish in what part of the world the characters were currently in based on one look at their clothes. But for something like Game of Thrones, it becomes a little easier because it's set in a world fairly similar to our own in regards to kings and kingdoms and the class system of peasants, knights, and royalty. Those in powers usually would have the finest linen robes and steel and gold weapons and armor, while peasants and slaves wore what looked like the same worn out, drab colored garments every day, showing the vast class distance between them and the people on top. The last question you should ask yourself when designing your characters is, how can you make them appealing for your audience? Now, sometimes when people hear the word appealing for characters, they link that word to be good looking or attractive, and that's not entirely what it's supposed to mean, at least in terms of animation. Appeal in animation is when a character is designed in a way that is first and foremost interesting to watch. The design should also show a glimpse into the personality of the character, and finally they are able to stand out on screen and have a kind of draw or charisma to them that keeps your audience engaged. And this can be applied to any characters, not just the quote-unquote attractive ones. One movie I can point to that does this fairly well is the old Disney film The Hunchback of Notre Dame. While Esmeralda is a very beautifully designed character, it is attractive. The character of Quasimodo, on the flip side, is not the most good-looking character out there. But he is designed and animated in a way that makes people want to watch his story. Because even though he isn't what people would call good-looking, the expressions he portrays and his innocent and caring nature, along with the emotion he shows, makes his character interesting to watch, and he is definitely a character that can stand out on screen, even surrounded by a group of others. And if you want to get a better understanding of appeal, just look at the character designs of other classic Disney movies, from characters like the Beast, Jafar, Stitch, and so many more, who don't all fall into the good-looking category, but do stand out from the rest of the cast and are appealing to watch on screen. Even after you've answered all these questions and have a better understanding of the kind of character you want to create, there's still more work to be done. But now you can actually start drawing, finally. But like with anything new, you aren't always going to get it right on the first try. And that's why designers always have to explore and iterate their designs until they create the one that best captures the idea they had in their head. If you look at some of your favorite characters in animation, I can guarantee that none of them look like their initial character designs. And each had to go through a lengthy process of ideation and exploration until the creator finally landed on the design that we get to see finalized on screen. During the exploration phase, I would advise, like I always do, to use reference. Take all the research you've gained from the previous steps and look for inspiration for the character types you are looking for, the setting and time period, as well as the tone, and create your own idea board to pull from when you need to. I would suggest using something like Pinterest or PureRef when creating your idea boards to help keep everything in an easily accessible place. For me, when I'm in the exploration phase of character design, I like to take a single pose and duplicate it on the canvas multiple times, and from my references start to draw designs I think will align with the intention I have for whatever character I'm working on. And sometimes I draw in things that I may not initially have thought would fit for the character, but sometimes you can surprise yourself when you step outside of your usual thinking. From there, I choose what I like from each individual exploration and merge them all together to come up with one final sketched up design. Another aspect of design you should consider is color theory, because color plays a big role in character design. Because certain colors evoke different emotions and convey different meanings. For Riff's design, I wanted a bright and inviting look to him, so I went with a warmer color like gold for his eyes, the jacket, and other accessories. But I also wanted a sort of coolness to him, and that's why I kept it simple with everything else having variations of the shade of black. So once you land on a sketch that you are proud of and want to move forward with, there are a few more steps to take to finalize your character designs, like designing a character sheet or expression sheets to help with consistency in your animation, and even animating your character turnaround to see them in a 360-degree view and make sure that you can draw them from any side and make them look three-dimensional. But those are all things that I will cover in future videos, so if you are interested in seeing those, then consider subscribing to the channel. I want to thank you guys for watching all the way through to the end, and I will see you in the next one.